Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy, and I am back to the Scavenger Hunt 2021 challenge. I just finished another project, but I didn't put any of it away in hopes that that will make today's challenge a little easier for me to put together, since I am still not in my studio and my stuff is still scattered all over this place. So here is the drill. Same drill we've been doing. I am going to mix this up with my eyes open, but then I will close my eyes, and as you know, you can't see that my eyes are closed, but trust me, my eyes are closed. All right, and I'm going to draw out 3 pieces of paper, and those will be the items that I use to create this, what is this, 8 by 12 piece of artwork for today. All right, so my eyes are closed. Let's see, there's 1. Last time I dumped a bunch out and wasn't sure which one I did, so 2. And I wasn't sure which, one I picked out because there were a few laying on the ground. So I have 3 here. And I did knock some out, so it's a good thing I didn't just lay them to the side. So I'll set these over here, and whoops, there's more that were behind the bolt that I didn't see. And let's see what I have to work with today. I have greeting card and a Zentangle and something see-through. Interesting. Something see-through may be the hard part. I don't know. Let's find out. First, I'm going to see if I have a greeting card hiding anywhere in my current immediate area. Okay, so in the top of my greeting card basket, I had this one, and I was looking at it on my way back from the basket, and I happened to notice it already has some Zentangle-ish shapes, at least shapes that will lend themselves well to a Zentangle. If you don't know what a Zentangle is, it is kind of reminiscent of Indian henna designs or mandalas. Those would be mandalas right there. But it has, or paisley-ish design, and it actually has repeating art marks, I guess you could say. It'll be easier once we get started to let you see, and that's actually probably going to be the first part that I do. Now, when I do a Zentangle, my first shape is a curvy shape, and I grabbed that silly brush tip again. I do not want that right now. I think I want my fattest micron, which is a 0.05, which does not sound very fat, but when it comes to micron pens, it's kind of fat. So I am going to draw starting right here and coming over this way. And that is going to be the start of my Zentangle shape. Now, thus far, that's not what it is. This is what makes it a Zentangle, is I choose a shape that I am going to repeat all the way along this line, at least for a while. And I can change it up, like I can change from these bumps that I'm doing to another kind of shape. I have numbers, so I've got to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll do 11. And then I'm going to change it just so you can see. And I'm going to change this one to a triangle. Doesn't necessarily have to be a curvy shape. It's more the fact that it's repeating and it's small. And then there's other parts that are also, I don't know if it's a requirement, but things that you will generally see in a Zentangle design is that you will have more shapes inside the shapes. Like here, I am going to put 3 lines inside of each of these triangles. And then on each of those lines, I can put even a different shape. Like I can go through and I can just draw little circles. And I am going to change my glasses real quick because I forgot to do that. And when I get smaller, it's hard for me to see what I'm doing. I wasn't sure I was even getting inside the Zentangle shape. And I'm going to put some more little dots here. And in this space, I think I'm going to put some circles and another circle. And then I'm going to put a dot in each of those circles. And it just keeps getting smaller and smaller inside of itself until it can't get any smaller. And then I'm going to repeat that same design in each of these triangle shapes here that have the lines inside. Now, if I do not have the definition or description of a Zentangle perfectly worded, or even if I have the wrong idea totally, please feel free to enlighten me and others in the comment section below. All I ask is that you be kind. All right, so there is that particular section. I'm going to go back to my, they're not necessarily semicircles, they're more like bumps, rounded bumps. And I am going to go ahead and fill this up. I'm not going to keep the camera on the whole time. I'm going to do bits and pieces so that you're not stuck just watching me, but I will speed it up. One thing that I have heard said about Zentangles is that they are very soothing because it's almost like mindless drawing. And I don't know that I would call it mindless because in my head I am trying to keep within the parameters of the definition. But I think that if you are just doodling, I think it would still count. And I think that I will go ahead and talk just a little bit. I have alluded to the fact that I've had some stuff going on here recently that has made it kind of hard for me to get into my artwork and enjoy it as much, if at all. And some of you may know that we are foster parents, and we had a boy who moved in with us when he was 14, and he had a twin sister who moved in with us last September. And we had some things happen, and the two of them chose to leave us. And that all happened as we were moving into a new house. As a matter of fact, it all happened within 5 days of us getting papers signed declaring guardianship and getting ready to move on toward adoption. And I know that in a previous video I had said something about being pretty emotional and mentioning the move and just a lot of stress going on. And I think that some people got the idea that it was simply because of the move that I was emotional and stressed. And not to say that moving isn't emotional and isn't stressful. We just moved out of a house that I thought that I would never, ever move out of. I had told my husband they would be taking me out of that house feet first. And here we are moved. And trying to get a house set up and trying to get this little family put together and take care of these kids that we love so very much. And it was heartbreaking, to say the least. It was heartbreaking. And like I said, I know that moving is emotional. It's just that I didn't want people to think that I was getting too emotional over something like that. Again, I'm not judging anybody because it is a super emotional thing. But yeah, and I cried. I cried and I cried. I cried for, it seemed 3 days straight, and then still cried more, but it wasn't like constant. And I still sometimes, when I go to the grocery store, I'm like, oh, she would love this. Oh, this is his favorite candy bar. And that takes a while. Someone likened it to a little death, and I wouldn't disagree, because it's kind of the death of a dream, and it's kind of the death of a relationship, although it doesn't have to be. We are hoping that through our continued prayers and still being there to reach out to if they want to talk to us or if they need something, that we could still pour into their lives and let them know that we still love them. We do. We still care about them. We still want them to be healthy and safe and happy. And yeah, and sometimes when this kind of stress gets into your life, doing something like this, while not absolutely mindless, can be beneficial in that you're not really thinking so much about the other stuff, but you're also not having to think a whole lot about this. So maybe there's a reason that I pulled Zentangle out of that little box or jar. Okay, I'm gonna put some X's in this one and go back to just drawing for a little bit. All right, I need to get some height going on here. And you can see that it looks very, very busy. I think that's where the tangle part of the Zentangle comes from. And so I am going to draw some more spirals coming out. And I'll just start filling this in with some more bumps, I think. And I'm going to bring these bumps all the way around. This kind of looks like a flower that's been turned inside out. And I think a lot of times the way that we used to do flowers when we were little, and sometimes I still do flowers this way, with the circle and then the rows of bumps and rows of bumps and rows of bumps, I think maybe those might also qualify as a Zentangle. There is, let's see, What is that form of art where you make curves with straight lines? And John Harris has a YouTube channel, and he did a lot of those for a long time. And that was just, again, another very soothing thing to watch, because you could just see these curves magically being created, and all he is doing is drawing a line connected to a line connected to a line, and they're all straight lines, and he's getting these beautiful moving sinuous curves that aren't actually curves. It's kind of reminiscent of the same thing, I think. You know what? I will link his channel below. He does some other things too, and it's just him and a marker, and beautiful things. And he has some books as well that I think that he can actually show you how to do it. It might be called The Art of the Line or something like that. I could be wrong, but John, if you're watching this and you want to use that as the name of your next book, feel free. I won't even charge you any kind of a finder's fee for the title. It may already be a title, what do I know? I kind of like that. I am probably not going to fill the whole page with these Zentangles because I think I have to put other things on here, and I don't want to cover up too much of it. I'm going to put the bumps on the outside of this, and it's going to look like those little wonder flowers like I was just talking about. And then I'm still going to do the inside shape right here and do the circles inside the bumps. I think I'm going to do that, and then do it again over this way. And then I'll just repeat those shapes. And I'm going to put little X's in the middle of those. I started putting X's in these bumps, and it must be because I went to the dentist this morning. I thought it looked like a dental chart with the teeth, and then they put the little X's through the ones that need work on, or actually I don't know what that signifies. I just know that I've seen dental charts with X's. Maybe it's teeth that you've lost already, and then these are adult teeth. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop right there. I may do more later on, but there's the Zentangle part, at least the basis of it. All right, now I have a greeting card. I think I'm just going to tear this part apart, or off of it. I'll put that over there in case I need it. And I'm going to get my Tim Holtz Edge Distresser, because this side that I just tore off is already a little distressed. I'm going to distress it some more so that it looks kind of the same as what this other distressing is going to look like on the sides. I have seen people do this with scissors. I have seen them do it. What else have I seen them use? The scissors I thought was a great idea, because then you don't have to have this fancy tool. Matter of fact, I might not have had this fancy tool and would know how to do the scissors if I had seen that before I bought this. I didn't pay enough attention to how to do it with the scissors, because I'm like, oh, I have this. Maybe I need to go back and, oh my goodness, I would have to look through my entire YouTube history. That would not, no, that would not work. So if you know how to do it with the scissors, or if you have seen somebody on a video do this distressing with the scissors edge, would you comment below and tell me where it was so that I can go and see how to do it again? Because it might be something that's good to know. I may not always have this. It is small, and I tend to lose things. So we've got that distressed, and I think that I don't want the thank you in the middle of the card. That could reach into the middle of the card. Although I could just, I wonder if I can get all of the letters in there. And I could do that. Let's see. Now, what can I do with this? And I also think I know what I'm going to say, because I have been choosing words and phrases to go along with each of my entries in this challenge. But here is the card that was inside. And I do think maybe I'll use that. All right, I've got a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my paper cutter out here and cut this down a little bit so that it will fit inside of the pocket that I'm going to make. So there you go. I'm going to make a pocket that is going to hold this card. And I'm going to get my tool out again and do the edges here. Oh, there's something else see-through. I forgot that I even had that there. That, ooh, pretty. Okay, I'll be using that. All right, so I am going to do some color addition here. And you know, the rest of my glitter markers are just right here to the side of me. So I'm going to grab that tray. Here's the rest of my glitter markers. So let's see what we can do with this. I think I'm going to work on the background first. Is that the same color as, those are two slightly different colors. And I'm going to shake these up a little bit. This is going to be a really colorful page when I get done. So on the background, I am just going to sweep across. I'm going to semi-follow lines, but I'm not trying to be in the lines for this part. But see where that curve is there? I'm going to kind of follow that curve down, kind of follow underneath of it. I really don't want any straight lines. And then I think I'll switch to, I think that one's too dark. Let's see, this is rose quartz. Let's do that. Let's use the rose quartz. And we'll just do the same thing again. And I'm going to kind of start over here so they're overlapping a little. All right, I like that so far. And then I think I can use some of the darker colors that I have here on the bottom, because this design down here is a whole lot simpler. And I am really just going to follow this curve. I'm going to shake my marker up a little bit. Much darker that one is than the ones on the top. This one I believe is called Ocean Wave. And I think I just started my next page for the next challenge because I went down the side. All right. Now I'm going to use some of these glitter markers that I got from Dollar Tree. And I just really like the way that they work. And these are the colors that I have. And if you can ever find them, every so often, especially around Christmas time, I see them come out again. I would grab them. You don't have to, but I would. And I even put tape on the ones that so that I know which ones are the ones that I'm using and which ones are not, without having to take the lids off. If you take the lid off and the tip is still white, you know it's one that you haven't used yet. And I think that I'm going to make all of my circles, my little inner circles that I made, I think I'm going to make all of those red. So I will speed this up so you don't have to watch all that. Okay, there's the red. I think I do not want to have the green too close to that. I do, however, think that the yellow would be pretty, or the gold. It depends. It can look yellow or gold depending on, I think, depending on what your mood is. So we're going to do the yellow. I'm going to do the yellow right around the red. I will tell you, with these fat tips, it's kind of hard to get it to go into the tiny little places you may have drawn. And at that point, you just have to decide if you're just going to let it go and enjoy the process, or if you're going to let it bug you, and then it's not so zen tangled. And I think that I am working on letting things go. So I am going to let it go, and I'm not going to sing to you. At least not this time. All right, and that's it for the yellow. And I think that my yellow marker is actually about gone. I think my next color is going to be, it'll be the one that is not this part, but the next ring in. So it's not actually going to be touching that yellow part. And I'm going to go with the blue because I haven't used any blue yet. Well, unless you consider Ocean Wave blue, and that actually looks like more of a teal to me. And so I'm just going to come around this line. And I think that since I did that swirl on the inside of the flowers, I am going to do the swirls down here as well. And since the interior one is blue in there, well, I just called those flowers. I don't know if they're flowers. I think they look like flowers, kind of. And so I'll go to the next one. All the colors I've used on here so far, except for the black at the very beginning when I was drawing the Zentangle, are sparkly. So this is going to be a very glittery piece when it's done. And I didn't even have to use glitter. I like that. I may have to use some more of this color. Actually, I think I'll use it on the inside of the blue up here and then come back in with the black. I'm finding this very soothing, and so I'm actually not thinking too hard about what's going where, because I know that I said I probably would use different colors in here, but I just kind of like this color. And I wanted to use it in more than just those places. Oh, I missed that one. Well, look at that. See, I told you I like this color, and I just picked up the wrong one. And now I get to use even more of it. And I think it'll cover over that yellow. I think that the gold is enough darker that that's not a problem. I think I'm just going to keep calling them flowers, because whether they are or not, that's the word that keeps coming out of my mouth when I'm talking about them. So they're probably going to be flowers. Now this pink is not covering up the background colors, but that's not a big deal to me, because we could just pretend that I did it in a different order and that that background color is actually a foreground color and is blowing over the pink. The purple is very awake. As a matter of fact, it's leaving puddles. So I have to be careful with that. I'll have to move away from the purple and let it dry for a little bit before I try to come in around it with anything. So have you ever drawn a Zentangle before? I think that I have, but didn't know that's what it was called. I just called it doodling until somebody said that looks kind of like a Zentangle. I don't know if they were just saying that because that it reminded them of it. But I do know that when I see Zentangles and when I see henna artwork, that a lot of times I think that they look very similar. I'm going to color in these circles and you're not going to see that dot in the middle, I don't think. But that's okay. Okay, so we have green and black left. I think I'm going to put green in here. I think I'm going to do black on some of the stripes that are inside of these bumps that are inside the triangles, and then I'm going to do black on the outside of that. And then I think we'll be done with the Zentangle and we can get on to the other part. For the black, which should be the last color that I'm going to use, at least as of this moment. That is my intention. And it's actually not black. It's kind of a very very dark gray, silver, sparkly slate. How about that? All right, and then I'm going to come over and do the best I can on this second set. It's a little wonky, partly because it was on the edge of the page. And now I'm going to do this part. And get started on this part. And I'm going to use this for the transparent, what was that how it said it, transparent? Oh, something see-through. And for the gift card. So I am going to cut, let's see, do I have a part? Yes, I do. I was hoping that I would have a part that didn't have too much wrinkle. This was part of, I believe it was part of packaging for something. I think maybe it, well, I think that it was around gift wrap paper. And so I am going to glue that to the back of this card, just like that. Yep, just like that. With my, I use my Beacon 3-in-1, which is basically the same thing as Fabrifix and Fabri-Tac. They're all Beacon glues. I actually, the other day, I saw a Beacon something that was not one of the things that I recognized as being a Beacon product, and now I can't remember what it was. All right, so we'll glue that right on there. Nice and smooth. And I'm going to grab some of this washi that I've got all over the place here. And I am going to put it right on the edges at the top of that transparency so that my card doesn't catch on it when I am sliding it in and out of the pocket. So now I have to figure out where I'm going to put the pocket. Look at that. How about right there? I think that's going to work best right there. Let's see. Whichever one I do for that, I'm going to do for this as well. This one. All right, so I need to grab one of my brushes because I did not take them in and wash them yet. So here we go. I'm just going to hit the edges so that you don't see the white where I roughed it up, and actually you can see where I roughed it up just a little bit better. It becomes an accent. I don't know if you can see this because I am so close to the edge of the screen. Still in a temporary setup. My studio, we actually had the surveyor came and measured everything on our property, and I mean everything. She was measuring where each plant and stone, all that good stuff was. And I'm not done with that. And I said I was going to put it right there, I believe. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. And so the surveyor was measuring because we are going to break ground on my studio that we are building off the back of the garage here at our new house. And I'm super excited, but until then, I'm kind of stuck in the basement for the most part. Most of the stuff for my Etsy shop is actually up on the second floor. So occasionally I'm going from all the way down here in the basement to all the way up to the second floor and back down again just to get things done. But that's okay, it won't be for long. Okay, there's that pocket. And then this is going to go in the pocket. So there is that part. Just going to go right there. And I am going to hit the edges of this. I have figured out what saying I am going to, what word, phrase, whatever you want to say, I'm going to put on here. Hole punch, I've got several different sizes of hole punches. So let's see, I think this one is the one that will be best for this particular instance. And I'm going to pull some of this thread, not thread, what's this called? Eyelash trim out. All right, I'm going to get a piece of this notepad paper to cover up what's on the back, but this one has ink and glue on it, so I'm going to grab another one, and I'm going to, let's see if this is in here. Then I want that to be right there. And so I want to put my glue below where my thumbnail is on the tag. All right, so I've got my Zentangle, got my greeting card, got my something see-through. So now I'm just finishing it up for me. I'll put that back in there so that I can see where this was supposed to go, because I don't remember right there. Yep, and I didn't put too much glue on it, so that worked out well. All right, I am going to cover up this card, and I am going to make myself a little bit of black splatter paint out of the Distress Oxide. And to do that, I'm just going to take this piece of plastic packaging, and where did the black go? There it is, black soot. I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to pounce it on the plastic. You can't see it very well, but it's on there. And then I'm going to take a water brush, which is up here somewhere. There it is. And I'm going to just get some water there, and I'm going to make a puddle actually. And you could also do this with a spray bottle, or even just a wet watercolor brush, and get it nice and wet, and then you're just gonna, and you have to practice. You're just gonna tap this and you'll get fine dots or bigger dots, depending on both how big your brush is, how much water is in there, how close you're holding it to your art piece. Right now I am just getting very fine dots. There we go, there's some bigger ones. I had to get my ink wetter. And the nice thing about this is, if I had done this in a tray, it'd be easier to do this, but you can save this. If it dries, it's not a biggie. It's just like watercolor. You just add your watercolor. There we go, there's my big dots. And I'm probably getting big dots all over everything on my desk as well, because I have done that before. You could save this just like watercolor, because when you re-wet it again, it is still water reactive. That's why when you're using the oxide ink pads, you gotta be careful that it's not gonna be something that you will be getting wet again in the future, because it will change. Like if you're Bible journaling or something like that, and the page that you journaled on is going to get wet, you're probably, well, not probably, you are going to end up reactivating that ink. And most of the time, it's not something that you really wanted to happen. So I like the black splatters. They're messy, kind of like life. And since that's kind of what I'm focusing on, it works with this. Remove these, because I didn't want the black to get on the front of the card or on my transparent part there. I went ahead and covered it up like that. All right, so there is the art part. Here is the card part. I think I may find a sticker or something to put on there that'll show through the window. That might work, if it's just that little flower right there. Okay, let's try this. Let's see. I want it to be right about there. This is a little washi sticker flower. Really like washi stickers. They just kind of melt into the paper and just look like they were part of the paper. So I'm going to stick this in the center of the card, right about there. Snip off that end that is too long. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, yes, I like that a lot. Okay, so I wanted another thing that was see-through, and so I added, or I grabbed a piece of that tool that I had at the beginning, and I'm going to glue it behind the word beautiful, just to make it stand out a bit more. And then I'm going to add just a few more things onto this page as soon as I'm going to add extra glue to the back of the sticker, because I do not expect the sticker to try to hold two pieces of tulle and itself onto a page that already has glittery marker all over it. I think that would just be expecting way too much out of a sticker. All right, so I have up here, again from this project that I was working on, I have tucked in behind here somewhere. Okay, my goodness, I have some sequins here. And I think that I'm just gonna add a few here and there. Maybe I'm just gonna put them right there. All right, I think that that works for me. So I'm going to grab my micron pen, and I'm actually going to trace around these words so that they stand out. And sometimes I will even go counterclockwise, because my natural inclination is to go clockwise, but I want it to look messy around there. And so if I do this, it makes the words stand out, but it also adds to the chaos effect, which is what I really want to point out, because like I was telling you earlier, I have the chaos going on. I am definitely still struggling somewhat, especially when it comes time to like just little everyday things that it sometimes still feels empty. And that is where these words came from. And these words I'm going to outline carefully. And then I'm probably going to come back with a white. I know I'm going to come back with a white, because I said carefully and I can't do it carefully. Let's see if I can find my white. Yep. And so I'm going to go around these letters. Well, this one was writing and then it quit. And it's not working very well either, but that's okay. Friends step into your chaos. They don't run away from it. It can be scary, and they'll admit that it's scary, but they also want to be there for you. And I have found that my friends have been there for me through this chaos and through other times of chaos that I've had in my life. My friends have been there for me. And so now the last thing is I just need to find numbers. So I'm going to pull my number collection. Actually added to my number collection because I got this Tim Holtz packet. And I wrote these numbers down on a piece of paper. Hopefully it was not the piece of paper that I glued to the back. It was not. So I need a number 7, a 68, and a 62. Okay, so this whole big pile of numbers, and I did not have a 7 or a 68 or a 62. So I had to go through and dig, and I found a piece of sheet music, page 7, and part of a barcode for 62, and on some of my washi tape there was a 6 and an 8 right above each other. So this is just gonna have to work for my numbers. I realize I'm the only one that is bothered by that, and that's okay, I'm used to it. On the back of it, and I'm going to nestle this in right down here in this semi-blank spot. And this is just so I know which of the prompts I used on this page, because I don't put these themselves on the page, but I have incorporated numbers in everything so far. All right, so all I have left to do is to date this. Make sure I don't grab the brush again, since I keep trying to grab the brush and I don't know why. The brush tip. Let's see, and I'm just going to date it right over here. And today is the 23rd, so 3, 23, 20, 21. All right. And so there is my entry for the hashtag Scavenger Hunt 2021. I will add that in the comments below so that you can look it up and see all of the entries that other people have done that they have posted with that hashtag. And I'm going to try really hard to get all of the prompts done before April 1st, because that is the last day, and it's the 23rd, so I have, how many days is that? It's 8 days to do that. Ooh, yeah. All right, so I better get busy. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for sticking through to the end. I do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe if you want, and I hope that you have a great day. Remember, be kind always. Bye.